Chapter 1 Childhood. Need for a prophet. Nearly 6 centuries had passed since the time of Prophet Isa, peace be upon him. People had forgotten all about Allah and the true religion. Idol worship was widespread all over the world. The Jews and the Christians were also influenced by the pagan religions and had made many changes in their holy books. Instead of the worship of Allah, they had started the worship of their prophets. The Christians had declared Prophet Isa to be the son of Allah, while the Jews said that Uzair was the son of Allah. No one knew the true teachings of the earlier prophets. The kings and rulers had become very corrupt and cruel. They had made the common people their slaves. Ordinary people were leading a very miserable life. Cruelty and injustice were the order of the day. Lawlessness and disorder was found everywhere. No one felt safe and secure. People did not know what good morals were. Slaves were treated like animals. Darkness of ignorance and cruelty had covered the whole world. The Arabian Peninsula was the center of paganism, cruelty, and barbarity. Every household had an idol of its own. Kaaba, which was built for the worship of one God, Allah, had become the center of idol worship. There were 360 idols inside the Kaaba. There was no settled government in Arabia. Human life had become very cheap. People used to kill each other for very minor things. Blood feuds continued for years. Peace and security were unknown. Women were considered worse than the animals. They were considered to be a commodity and were sold and inherited like other property. The lot of the baby girls was the worst. They were killed or buried alive. The whole world, and especially the Arabian Peninsula, were in need of a prophet who could put an end to the evil, injustice, and cruelty, and teach man his forgotten lesson of Tawheed and brotherhood. The time was ripe for the coming of a great prophet. Allah chose the city of Mecca to be the birthplace of this great prophet. Date of birth. It is agreed that he was born during the year of elephant, the year when Kaaba was attacked by Abraha, who was accompanied by the elephants. It is also agreed that he was born during the month of Rabiul Awwal on a Monday. But there is difference of opinion about the date. The commonly known date, which is supported by weak traditions, is 12th Rabiul Awwal. Some of the scholars say that it is 8th Rabiul Awwal. But the most authentic saying is that it is the 9th of Rabiul Awwal, which is also supported by the famous astrologer Mahmud Falki Pasha. It was 20th April 571 AD according to him. He was born 50 days after the event of attack of Kaaba by the companions of elephant. He was born in Banu Hashim, the most respectable branch of the Quraysh, the most famous and respectable tribe of Arabia. He is from the descendants of Prophet Ismail. His family tree is as under. Family tree. The family tree of the Messenger, peace be upon him, of Allah, can be divided into 3 parts. The first part is from Muhammad, peace be upon him, to Adnan, in which there is no difference of opinion. The second part is from Adnan to Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, in which the historians have differed. The third part is from Prophet Ibrahim to Prophet Adam, in which there are certainly some flaws. His mother also belongs to the tribe of Quraysh. She joins the family tree of the Messenger, peace be upon him, of Allah in Kilab bin Murrah. Her family tree is as follows. Amina bint Wahab bin Abd Manaf bin Zohra bin Kilab. He was also called Hakim, wise. The Prophet, peace be upon him, himself said that Allah distinguished Kinana from the descendants of Ismail, and distinguished Quraysh from Bani Kinana, and distinguished Bani Hashim from Bani Quraysh, and distinguished me from Bani Hashim. The first part. Muhammad, peace be upon him, bin Abdullah, bin Abdul Muttalib, Shayba, bin Hashim, Amr, bin Abd Manaf, Mughira, bin Qusay, Zaid, bin Kilab, bin Murrah, bin Kab, bin Lowe, bin Ghalib, bin Fahr. His title was Quraysh. Bin Malik, bin Nadhar, Qais, bin Kinna, bin Khuzaima, bin Mudrika, Amir, bin Ilyas, bin Mudhar, bin Nizar, bin Mad, bin Adnan. The second part. Adnan bin Ad bin Hamisa, bin Salaman, bin Aus, bin Buz, bin Kamwal, bin Abi, bin Awam, bin Nasheed, bin Haza, bin Baldas, bin Yadlaf, bin Tabakh, bin Jaham, bin Nahash, bin Maqi, bin Aid, bin Abkar, bin Ubaid, bin Ad, Adwa, bin Hamdan, bin Sambar, bin Yatrabi, bin Yahzan, bin Yalhan, bin Arawi, bin Eid, bin Dishan, bin Aisar, bin Afnad, bin Ayham, bin Maksar, bin Nahat, bin Zara, bin Sami, bin Mazi, bin Odah, bin Aram, bin Kidar, bin Ismail, bin Ibrahim. The third part. Ibrahim bin Tareh, Azar, bin Nahur, bin Saru or Saruh, bin Rao, bin Falih, bin Abir, bin Shalih, bin Arfakhshad, bin Sam, bin Noah, peace be upon him, bin Lamik, bin Matushlach, bin Afnuh, Prophet Idris alayhi salam's name, bin Yard, bin Malahil, bin Kinan, bin Anusha, bin Sheet, bin Adam, peace be upon him. The title Quraysh. A group of the scholars of genealogy believe that Quraysh was the title of Nadhar bin Kinana, but most of the authentic scholars say that it was the title of his grandson, Fahr bin Malik, and only the descendants of Fahr bin Malik are included in the Quraysh. Amina's dreams. During her pregnancy, Amina had a dream in which she saw a light coming out of her, which reached the palaces of Syria and illuminated them. In another dream, she was told that she was bearing the leader of the world. She should give him the name Muhammad when he is born. It is also reported by her that when Muhammad, peace be upon him, was born, she felt as if a light had come out of her, which has illuminated the east and the west. Muhammad, peace be upon him, was born as an orphan. His father, Abdullah, died before his birth. Abdullah went to Syria with a trading caravan. On his way back to Mecca, when he reached Medina, he fell ill and stayed with Banu Najjar, the family of his mother. When the caravan reached Mecca, they told Abdul Muttalib about the illness of his son. He sent his elder son Harith to Medina to find out about his son Abdullah. On reaching Medina, Harith found out that Abdullah had already died after remaining ill for a month and a few days. Abdul Muttalib and his family were grieved at this news. Abdul Muttalib loved Abdullah more than all his sons. Fosterage. Muhammad, peace be upon him, was suckled by Thuwaiba, the slave girl of Abu Lahab, for a few days after his birth. It was a tradition among the nobles of Mecca to send their newborn babies to the desert with the Bedouin women to be brought up in the open air of the desert and to learn the pure Arabic language. The women of the desert tribes used to come to Mecca after every few months to get the children. It was their source of income. A few months after the birth of Muhammad, peace be upon him, some women of Bani Sa'd bin Bakr, a branch of Hawazin tribe, came to Mecca to get the children. Halima came with them. None of the women was prepared to look after Muhammad, peace be upon him, because he was an orphan, and they thought that they would not get good remuneration from his guardians. The blessed child. Halima accepted him because she could not get any other child and she did not want to go back empty-handed. She says, "Our donkey was very weak and much slower than the donkeys of the other people of the tribe. We lagged behind the others on our way to Mecca. But when we went back to our home, our donkey became so fast that no other donkey could reach her. We were very poor and famine-stricken. I did not have enough milk to satiate my own baby Abdullah, and he usually cried out of hunger during the night. Our she-camel did not give any milk. After taking Muhammad, peace be upon him, in our custody, I had enough milk to feed both Muhammad and my own son Abdullah. Our she-camel gave enough milk to fulfill the need of our family. We experienced many other blessings after taking Muhammad, peace be upon him, into our fosterage and realized that he was a blessed child." Halima says, "A few months after we came back, our son Abdullah came running to us and told us that two strangers had ripped Muhammad's belly. We ran to the place and found Muhammad standing alone and puzzled. He looked pale and frightened. We hugged him and asked what had happened. He told that two men dressed in white came. They made him lie down and opened his chest. Then they took something out of his chest, threw it away, and made the chest as it was before. After this event, we became afraid, lest something should happen to the child, and brought him back to his mother. She was curious to know why did we bring him back so soon, while we had taken him with so much insistence. So I told her what had happened. She was not surprised, because she herself had experienced strange things since she had conceived him." Respect for foster relatives. Muhammad, peace be upon him, always remembered his foster parents and respected them like real parents. After his marriage, once Halima came to him and complained that all their cattle had died due to famine. He gave her 40 goats and a camel loaded with goods. Halima's sister came to him on the occasion of conquest of Mecca and gave him the news of Halima's death. He wept on hearing this news and gave her clothes, a camel with saddle for riding, and 200 dirhams. His foster sister Shaima was made prisoner of war during the Battle of Hawazin along with the other people of the tribe. When she was brought to him, he recognized her, treated her with respect, and freed her. Then a delegation from Bani Hawazin came to him and appealed for mercy. He freed the prisoners who were in his custody and in the custody of Bani Abdul Muttalib. When the other people knew about it, they also freed their prisoners. Thus, 6,000 prisoners of war were released and the goods worth 500 million dirhams were returned to them. The death of his mother. When Muhammad, peace be upon him, was 6 years old, his mother Amina also died. She went to Medina to visit her family and the grave of her husband Abdullah. She took him with her to introduce him to his maternal relatives. They stayed there for about a month and then came back to Mecca. On her way back, she fell ill at a place called Abwa and died there after the illness of a few days. She was buried there. His mother's maid, Ayman, was accompanying them during this journey. She brought him back to Mecca. Years later, during the Umrah of Hudaybiyah, when he passed by Abwa, he visited the grave of his mother in the custody of Abdul Muttalib. Abdul Muttalib became his guardian after the death of Muhammad, peace be upon him's mother. He loved him more than any of his children and kept Muhammad, peace be upon him, with him all the time. He did not eat his meal without him, A special mat was spread for Abdul Muttalib under the shade of Kaaba, where no one sat out of respect for him. But Muhammad, peace be upon him, used to sit on it. When his uncles wanted him to leave the place, Abdul Muttalib forbade them and said, "Leave my son alone, by Allah. He is going to have such dignity and status that no one ever had in the Arab world." Some physiognomists have told Abdul Muttalib to give him special protection. Abu Talib was also present at that occasion. Abdul Muttalib told him to take special care of Muhammad, peace be upon him. Muhammad, peace be upon him, did not enjoy the love and care of his grandfather for long. He died when Muhammad, peace be upon him, was only 8 years old. He was looked after by his uncle Abu Talib after the death of his grandfather. In the care of Abu Talib. Like his grandfather, Abu Talib also loved Muhammad, peace be upon him, more than his own children. Abu Talib's real name was Abd Manaf. Talib was the name of his eldest son, who was nearly of the same age as Muhammad, peace be upon him. Talib also loved Muhammad, peace be upon him, dearly. The Quraysh forced him to accompany them during the Battle of Badr, but he did not participate in fighting. It is not known what happened to him, because he was neither found in those who were killed during the battle, nor in those who were made prisoners, and nor did he return to Mecca after that. Abu Talib kept Muhammad with him wherever he went and treated him as if he was someone special. He did not let anyone eat before Muhammad, peace be upon him. No one dared to sit with Abu Talib on his raised platform, but Muhammad, peace be upon him, usually used to sit on it with him. A special blessing of Muhammad, peace be upon him, experienced by Abu Talib, was that whenever his family took their meal without Muhammad, peace be upon him, they did not find the meal enough to satiate them. But when they ate with him, they all had their fill and also had some food left over. Abu Talib had a large family to support and was not well off financially. Muhammad, peace be upon him, thought to help him and started tending the goats of other people of Mecca on payment. He had the experience of tending the goats when he was living with Halima of Bani Sa'd. Since his birth, it was evident that Muhammad, peace be upon him, was not an ordinary child. He himself said that he had no interest in the entertainments which the children of his age enjoyed. He says, "Once I asked my mate to look after my goats for the night, and I went to the city of Mecca to enjoy the entertainments of the city. When I entered Mecca, I heard some singing sounds. I asked the people what was happening, and they told me that the people were singing and dancing in someone's marriage ceremony. I went there to watch, but soon fell asleep and woke up during the day when I felt the heat of sun on my face. The next night, I left my goats again in the care of my maid and went to the city. I heard the same singing sound and went there. Again I fell asleep as soon as I sat there and did not watch anything. I never felt any desire to participate in such programs after that." Ayman reports that there was an idol named Bowana. The Quraysh used to worship it and they used to visit it. Abu Talib also used to visit it along with his family. Whenever they went there, they wanted to take Muhammad, peace be upon him, with them. But he always refused, and his uncles and aunts got angry with him. To get rid of their reproach, once he went with them. When they reached the idol temple, he disappeared. They looked for him and got worried. When they could not find him, after some time he came to them looking pale and frightened. He told them that whenever he went near an idol, he saw a tall man standing there who said, "O Muhammad, keep away from it and do not touch it." He never went to that festival after that. First journey to Syria. Muhammad was about 12 years old when Abu Talib made preparations to go to Syria on a business trip. When the caravan was ready to leave, Muhammad, peace be upon him, went to his uncle Abu Talib and said that he wanted to go with him. Abu Talib was reluctant to take him because of the hardship of the journey. But when he insisted, Abu Talib could not refuse to take him on this long and tiring journey. The caravan moved through the desert for days and nights, and finally it reached the market of Busra after many days. Close to the market there lived a Christian monk named Bahira. He never took any notice of the caravans passing by and never bothered to even say hello to them. But this time he was especially kind to the caravan of Quraysh and he invited them for dinner. They all went except Muhammad, peace be upon him, who was left in the camp with luggage. When the monk learned that they had left young Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the camp, he insisted that he should be brought as well. So Muhammad came and Bahira sat with him and talked to him. He said, I ask you in the names of Lat and Uzza, two famous gods of Arabs, to answer me a few questions. Muhammad said, do not ask me in the names of Lat and Uzza. By Allah, I hate nothing more than these two. Bahira said, then tell me in the name of Allah what I ask. Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, ask what you like. Bahira asked him questions about his life and his dreams. Then he went to Abu Talib and asked him, what relationship has this boy got with you? Abu Talib said, he is my son. Bahira did not accept his answer and said, his father cannot be alive. Then Abu Talib told him that he is the son of his brother Abdullah, who had died before his birth. He also told him that his mother had died when he was 6 years old. Bahira nodded and said, take your nephew back to your land and guard him well against the Jews. By Allah, if they saw him and knew about him what I know, they will harm him. A great future lies before this nephew of yours. So take him back quickly. Abu Talib did not go any further. He sold all his goods in the market of Busra and went back to Mecca. Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the Meccan society. The people of Mecca were steeped in ignorance and evil at the time of Muhammad's birth. They had all the imaginable evils in them. Murder, robbery, drinking, fornication, and gambling were widespread. Instead of being ashamed, they were proud of these evil qualities and mentioned them with pride among friends. Though born and brought up in Mecca, Muhammad, peace be upon him, was not influenced by these bad qualities of Meccans at all. On the contrary, he was quite the opposite of what was found around him. He never worshipped the idols and never participated in the evils that were common among the Meccan youth. He led the most pure and chaste life even before the prophethood. He helped the poor and needy, loved his relatives and neighbors, helped the people in distress, looked after the sick and old, and honored his guests. He always kept his promise and never betrayed anyone. He was the most honest and truthful person in the whole of Mecca. The people of Mecca loved him and honored him for his qualities.